Good morning and welcome to Today in L.A. My name is Mike Amos. His name is Forrest Lee, and good morning on a Friday. Thank goodness that's Friday. Couldn't be a better day that I know out there than a Friday.
It's the 4th of June, and I've got to do a little bit of work in my garden today, and got snap beans coming.
I've been waiting on my tomatoes. Have you had any tomatoes?
I haven't had any. I've got some coming, but I don't know if my crop's going to be good yet. But
is that German guy? Is he coming in here in a few minutes? Guy?
Could be Billy Rice.
It's the German guy. What is it?
I overslept a little bit.
He speaks German.
I brought the magazine back.
Oh, yeah, good, man. I didn't think I'd ever see that magazine again.
Well, I'm going to take it back this weekend. I'm starting studying it. Miami's going to be we're on there.
Yeah, we're laid back television at the very best, and of course the dusty-headed guy just coming in here is Bill Rice Jr.
Here's what I took home with me last night to start my research.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Roll Tide, if it applies this morning. The girls won yesterday.
I saw that.
It's just all kinds of ball going on. There's a big camp coming up in Troy University. That not only the Chip Lindsey football camp this weekend, but another big baseball camp. They say it's the biggest baseball camp in this part of the country. It starts on Monday.
That must be the one that the high school coaches association does.
That's right. It's a big one, and a lot of coaches will be in here for it.
In the Troy Messenger, I read that we've got 3 players thus far. Darrell Lee from Charles Henderson, he'll participate in the varsity event here at Troy University June 14th through 17th. And got a couple of JV players. Goshen's Tyler McClendon and Charles Henderson's Trayvon Brown will participate in the JV All-Star event beginning June the 12th through the 15th. So congratulations. Yeah, that's the Alabama Baseball Coaches Association All-Star event at Troy University. Who is Riddle Pace? Who is Pace?
Pace was the former president of Troy University, Troy State College then, or Troy State Teachers College, or Troy State Normal School.
Everybody, some of you might have heard of Margaret Pace Farmer, who wrote The Great Historian of Pike County. That's her name, Pace. That was her daddy, Dr. Pace.
Well, I didn't realize
Troy started in what, 1887? Troy University.
That's right.
In downtown Troy. The college once was downtown. Yeah. People don't know that too.
You know, I noticed that the portal is hitting even people like Alabama State. Alabama State loses a real good receiver to University of Louisiana. And that's Louisiana of the Sun Belt Conference. And just amazing how they started getting him. This guy led Alabama State in receiving. He's 6'3", 200 pounds, and had a team-high 49 catches in 2019. So they lose a good one out of Alabama State. Now, head coach for the Crimson Tide of Alabama, they just cruised. Did you watch any of that last night?
I got the tail end of it.
To a big victory
over Arizona.
I didn't watch any of the basketball games either. It's too nerve-wracking for me. I keep up with it on the internet and get scores.
Yeah. Well, tonight, James Madison, who upset Oklahoma, they're going to play Oklahoma State at 7 in the winners bracket, along with Alabama versus UCLA. That game will start at 9:30 tonight. Tomorrow in the losers bracket, Oklahoma will be playing Georgia at 11 o'clock tomorrow. Good luck, Bulldogs.
So it looks like it's going to be late night softball.
It will. And then tomorrow, Saturday, Arizona will play Florida State at 1:30. And then
Oklahoma got beat by James Madison. Knocked me over with a feather.
That was a big. That's what you've been talking about. That softball would be a easy way to the top. And James Madison didn't have any problem with it. You know.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Alabama. We're going to be talking about today. All these regional teams. I tell you, this thing just goes on and on and on, and finally it's going to end up at the World Series in Nebraska.
Omaha,
yeah.
Yes, sir. There's 9 teams in it from the Southeastern Conference. You got In Fayetteville, Arkansas is going to play New Jersey Tech.
Huh?
New Jersey Tech, I guess they won their conference.
I have not heard. I've never heard of New Jersey Tech.
Alabama will be playing in the Ruston tournament where Louisiana Tech is located. They're going to play They'll play North Carolina State.
We're German television.
Okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Forrest. Go ahead.
And Gainesville, Florida will play South Florida, and that's where South Alabama's located. They're going to be playing in the Gainesville bracket versus Miami. And Knoxville, Tennessee will play Wright State. There's one in Eugene, Oregon. Oregon's the number 1 seed, but LSU will play Gonzaga. In the Nashville Regional, Vandy versus Presbyterian. In Greenville, East Carolina is the top seed. In Tucson, Arizona is the top seed. And in Oxford, Ole Miss is the top seed. They'll play Southeastern Missouri State. In Fort Worth, TCU is the top seed. In Columbia, Old Dominion is the top seed. That's South Carolina. But South Carolina is in that bracket, and they'll play, I think, the University of Virginia. And
a lot of baseball left, isn't it?
Yeah. In Starkville, Mississippi State will be playing Samford out of Birmingham. Yeah. Then South Bend, Notre Dame's the top seed. In Lubbock, Texas, Texas Tech is the top seed. And Stanford's the top seed. So 16 regionals, and the winner of those regionals will go to the super regionals.
It depends on
who wins. They'll determine where that will be.
And it'd be fun to watch. College baseball is fun to watch. And Rice and I went up to see Troy and Alabama play, and no way did we think Alabama, after we left there, would make it all the way to the regionals, but they did.
Wasn't there some controversy, Michael? The Georgia coach was upset with it, and I believe maybe the Pittsburgh coach or somebody like that because they had better records, or
I would be too. Alabama got it.
But I mean, Alabama beat 2 ranked teams in the SEC tournament, though. So, I mean, that was pretty impressive.
Yeah.
One of them was the 2nd ranked team in the country when they beat Tennessee.
Yeah. Of course.
I mean, Alabama athletics has been probably the greatest season maybe of all time. The SEC championships they've won. I mean, Alabama won the national championship, SEC championship in football. The women's gymnastics team won the SEC gymnastics championship. Basketball team goes to the NCAA tournament for the first time, and they've told them how many years. Men's basketball team wins the SEC tournament, goes to Sweet 16. Now the baseball team has gone to the NCAA regionals for the first time forever, and then the softball team's in the College World Series.
Yeah.
Pretty good summary there, Michael.
In Alabama.com, I think they ranked the men's program at Alabama the best in the SEC. There's an article about that.
Yeah, that is.
Overall. This past
good
year.
report right there. Of course, there's a golf tournament going on. If you don't know that, it's at Muirfield in Dublin, Ohio, and this is a good tournament. It started yesterday, and Colin Marikar leads that tournament by a stroke over. I've never heard of Adam Long. I never heard of Bo Hodge. I never heard of Nick Taylor. Really, those never even heard of them. Xander Shopley, though, he's there. Then comes Cumbero Bello, Christian Buzelhalt, his old German friend, I think, and Brendan Steele and Max Homer. I mean, I've never heard of half these guys, but they're making a living playing golf.
Now let me ask you: you've been everywhere.
Yeah.
You've been to China.
Yes.
But have you been to Germany?
No. I would like to go to Germany. I think it's a beautiful country.
With your military, I bet.
Well, when I was a little kid, Daddy was stationed there, and I was probably about 3 or 4, broke my wrist.
Yeah.
And then my sister, her husband was stationed there, and after Mother died in December of '88, I went out there to see my sister that summer. And
where'd you go? Remember?
Just outside of Frankfurt. Well, Daddy was stationed at Birkenfield, and they were at Nuremberg, just outside of Nuremberg.
Well, look at your hair is grown back, man. It didn't take any time to grow back, did it?
No.
And mine is taking a long time to grow back.
I may get it cut off again. Under the right circumstances.
For the right things you want.
It seemed like it grew back in about a week.
Sure it is.
It took about 2 months, I think. But that first day it felt real weird. But then once I started getting nubs, it felt pretty good.
Dad went to Germany many times.
But he
started because he was in the National Guard for 23 years, and they used to have all these field training exercises in Germany. They were preparing for the big war with the Soviet Union back then. And, I'm sure they did some real training, but those were great government-paid trips where he got to see some really scenic areas of Germany and drink some of that good German beer. And, and then he started going on his own trips to Germany. I've never been to Germany. I've never been home. You've been everywhere. I've hardly been anywhere.
I haven't been that.
But I did take one trip to Europe later in life with my dad to Switzerland, not Germany, but Switzerland.
Went up in the mountains.
One of the languages they speak in Switzerland is German. They actually speak Italian in some parts of Switzerland, and there's a Switzerland language too, I understand. So people in Switzerland could speak 3 different languages.
Well, I actually was in Germany 3 times. When I came back from Saudi Arabia, I had a little brief stop there. But I've been to Panama, South America, Ecuador, Honduras, with the National Guard. And the trip to Ecuador was in 1987 with Wayne Dickens was there, Hal Lee, my brother Kenny, and a couple more. And we went on it was right after an earthquake, and the United States did a training down there, building bridges and schools and stuff like that.
Good for y'all.
But that was a neat experience. And our coffee, I normally don't drink coffee unless was National Guard weekend or if I was at summer camp, and we sweetened our honey down there. Our coffee with honey. And that's pretty neat to do. Honey.
You went to Camp Shelby, I bet, like everybody else.
I've been to the mosquito capital of America. Been to Fort El Paso, Texas. Yeah. And at that time we could go into Mexico. But from then on, Juarez is such a tough town. It was off limits. Do not cross the border into Juarez.
Now, Michael, where have you been outside the country?
I hadn't really been to many places. I've been to London and parts of, the United Kingdom, and then I went to Holland and visited a lovely place called Amsterdam.
All right.
Amsterdam.
Yeah, that's not a good place for a young
really?
singer. That's a liberal part of the
open
world right there.
I think I've heard that.
Yeah, I was wanting to go to the Heineken and Amstel Light Brewery over there. They had those are my 2 favorite beers at the time.
Yeah. We need to get you a picture on the screen, ladies and gentlemen. Mike Amos coming to you from the Zoom this morning, and of course...
it hadn't rained down here at the beach in about, I think they said last night, 18 days.
Man, I didn't realize that.
Wow.
Yeah. So
go up there and make sure you go wash your... take care of your mother's plants this morning, if you will. And also left you a check up there, too.
I might head down that way sometime.
Mike Amos calling from Grayton Beach this morning, and, of course, a beautiful, beautiful sunrise down there. And, of course, Mike's is our permanent register down there, I would say. And really like it, don't you?
Yeah, we've been down here, I guess, about 2 years and 3 months now. So.
Well, it's the beautiful people, but you also aren't there just a ton of people from Alabama that either live there or you see on a regular basis down there?
Yeah, we're blessed to have tons of friends that have houses down here. Just from Troy alone, Bill DeShera's got a place on Thomas Drive, and then Richard Calhoun has a place in Seagrove right next to Seaside, and a lot of our friends from Birmingham have places down here, so we see everybody pretty much just the same as we did when we lived in Birmingham.
He sounds sort of yuppie, doesn't he?
Yeah. Well, it's the beautiful people.
We got a Christ the King Episcopal Church, and our
on it, yeah.
My wife went to.
It's a fun place to live. I'll say that. It's very laid back, and I mean, there's a lot of tourists down here, but you kind of know you can pick your spots on where to go, and you know where the crowds are going to be and not going to be.
Well, if somebody wanted to know exactly where he is, he's about a block up from the great restaurant.
The Red Barn.
The Red Barn.
Red Bar.
Red Bar. I said, I did say barn, didn't I? Red
I
Bar,
said Red
yeah.
Barn, too. My wife went down there, your neck of the woods, last night to Fairhope. One of her favorite authors is Ellen Hildebrand, I think. She's written a ton of bestsellers, and she was at the famous bookstore in downtown Fairhope.
That was last night.
Yeah, and she and one of her college friends went to the book signing.
Is she back yet?
She came in about midnight and woke me up, and I looked at, hey, okay, you made it back. So, yeah, she's back. But she went to Fairhope, which is that's where there's a lot of beautiful people live, too.
Bar, what have you been doing? Give us a report.
Well, how about we talked about Alabama softball, but Montana Fouts.
Oh, man.
Well, she struck out 14 of the first 18 batters she faced. She's from Grayson, Kentucky, and was a 3-time Gatorade Player of the Year for the state of Kentucky.
For Alabama. You know who else Alabama picked up from Kentucky? Well, I can tell you too. Real off.
Shaw Alexander and Damian Harris.
They good, Michael. You can't get anything past Michael. But I was thinking about a non-football player. See if you can think of sports besides football.
Basketball?
From Kentucky?
Yeah.
What sport?
I think I'm right. I think
Kevin Greavy, Louis Danville.
and Justin Thomas from Kentucky.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Exactly right.
Alabama's most famous golfer,
yeah, right now. Yeah.
And the owners of the Baltimore Ravens, Stephen and Renee Biscotti, they have created a $4 million scholarship program in honor of Ozzie Newsome.
Isn't that amazing?
And it's going to be awarded to the Baltimore City public kids who want to attend historic black colleges and universities in Maryland, Bowie State, Coppin State, Morgan State, and Maryland Eastern Shore.
Yeah.
So that's a big honor for him. But when he played at Colbert County High School in 1972, they won the 3A football championship. They won the basketball championship. And when he was a catcher for the baseball team, they were runner-ups in 1972.
That's good.
He caught 20 passes as a tight end. 20 touchdown passes, over 80 passes. This is in 1972. And then the next year, he caught 23 touchdown passes.
You know,
in 1972, that's pretty good for high
sure
school
was.
football.
Very good.
when
very
I was
good.
researching Pike LaBelle Arts winning 3 state championships in 1 year in all the major sports, I emailed Ron Ingram from Brundage, who's now with the Alabama High School Athletics Association, because he is the authority on high school sports in Alabama, and asked him if he could think of some other programs that had been great in all 3 sports in 1 year, and he mentioned Colbert County and Ozzie Newsome.
Leading Alabama.
That was a star apparently on all 3 teams.
All 3. He was a catcher on the baseball team.
And I think he mentioned that Leon Douglas, the great Alabama basketball player, might have been from there too.
And also Philip Gargis used to play quarterback at Auburn. He came from there.
Gosh.
Philip Gargis. Yeah,
Isn't that who Lou Verne beat in the state championship 1 year?
I don't know. Maybe
Or did
so.
they tie?
Maybe so. I know Pike County beat them for the state
Colbert
championship.
County?
I did the game.
I think that's tag number 20.
Yeah. Pike County beat them one time down in Brundage. I remember that for the state championship.
You know, Ozzie Newsome's a tight end in the Hall of Fame, but at Alabama he was a wide receiver.
Yeah,
they
that's
moved
right.
him. They moved him to tight end in the pros. He was a big wide receiver.
Oh, yeah.
They called him a split end. He was in a split end in the wishbone offense.
And
Said
he became one of the great tight ends in the NFL. He was just a great athlete.
13 seasons with the Browns, but at Alabama, during his career, they were 26-2, won 3 conference championships, and went 42-6 overall under Paul Bear Bryant.
And the Paul Bear Bryant, yeah.
First round pick.
Of course, locally there we've got a football camp, and if you want to try to get somebody in it, football camp here, Chip Lindsey camp.
I'll get Jack in it. I want to say some more Ozzie Newsome trivia.
Go ahead.
I think Michael might check me on this. I think that Ozzie Newsome was the first freshman to ever start at the University of Alabama, because they had a rule for a long time that freshmen were ineligible. And he was the first player that started. Now, he didn't start his first game, but somewhere in his freshman year, very quickly, he was a starter.
Yeah, that was something. And, Alabama was getting a lot of players, like out of Leeton. Leeton is right outside of Florence, and a lot of athletes there. But they were also going over there to
Leeton. That's where Leon Douglas is from.
That's right. That's where he's from, Leeton, and that's where Ozzie was from too. And just a bunch of those great athletes that came out of located between Florence and Decatur. Where that town? Where the Good Boys come from?
Hazelwood.
Hazelwood, yeah, Hazelwood. That little town of Hazelwood produced a bunch of.
I think it's Town Creek, and the high school was Hazelwood.
Right. Yeah,
wasn't
that's
it?
right. Well, no, it's a town.
All the kids that transferred from SEC schools to other schools are all eligible. So Alabama's got the linebacker from Tennessee, Tutu, I guess is his name.
And he's supposed to be the real deal. He's supposed to be really good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he started in Tennessee the last couple of years. I mean, made like 85 tackles last year.
Well, Mike, what happened to the LSU offensive line coach? He got fired yesterday.
Well,
James Craig. They had the offensive line of the year 2 years ago when they won the national championship, but he's been fired by Ed Orgeron and LSU.
Some crazy stuff going on at LSU.
2 days before official visits in Baton Rouge. And,
Orgeron's back on the market date, and he might have had a bad day or something. Got rid of one of his coaches.
Yeah.
And well, the
I
LA.
remember Orgeron's making like almost $8 million a year at LSU.
Oh man, that's ridiculous.
I think I deserve it.
Boy, that is totally ridiculous kind of money they make.
What do I sing all the time? Mamas, let your babies grow up to be
you
college football
said he
coaches.
I wonder, Neil Brown, you beat LSU and then of course, ends up getting the West Virginia job, but then like Florida State came open, Tennessee came open, all these jobs came open. I wonder if he would have waited at Troy another year and got one of those bigger jobs in West Virginia.
I don't know.
It's going to be interesting to see what we can
do
this year.
West Virginia, man, you got to beat Texas and Oklahoma, and Oklahoma State's pretty good every year. I mean, that Big 12 is a tough conference to win in.
Hey, I got something y'all can help me with in my quick perusal of the Athlon Sports College Football Preview. The kick returner of the year, first team All-American, is this guy from Houston. What's his name, Jones or Brown?
Yeah, he's the Enterprise guy from Enterprise.
He transferred from Troy.
That's right. Sure is. They talking about him now?
First team All-American and kick returner.
Did you know that, Mike?
Thank you, Bill Rice Jr. for reading Mike's football magazine.
Well, yeah, I knew that
I remember when he transferred to Houston, and I knew he was good.
That's where Richard he played at SMU.
He's from our cameraman's hometown of Enterprise, and
he's a cornerback too, right?
That's right. Yeah, and
he ran back 3 in one season. I think he ran back 2 in one game against Coastal Carolina, didn't he?
Yeah, for Troy, you're right. And it's going to be good to get out among the people at the camp today, to see, we don't see those guys like we used to. It used to be easy to get over there to see them, but we don't see them much now.
I can remember when Bobby.
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, I watch them, but I mean,
you can still watch them from that part up above, can't you, or the practice fields?
Yeah, there's some places to watch them from and everything, but this is a good time for their. Most of the people doing recruiting will tell you that most of their players came from people that were in their camp.
They get to know them right.
And Alabama's real bad about it. You don't go to Alabama unless you go to their camp.
What I enjoyed watching was the Bowden quarterback camp. I think it was receivers too.
I loved it.
And you would watch these kids. You didn't know who the heck they were. They were just some kids, but they could spin it, man. You could say you would look at 2 or 3 of them and say, "Wow."
That's right.
I wonder where those kids ended up. I bet a lot of these kids I was watching that were sophomores and juniors, or some of them I'm sure in the NFL right now.
You'd love to have that old registration notebook when they signed in, and Coach Bowden would be riding around on his.
I noticed that
golf cart
that the
sitting on his golf cart.
The rankings are out in two of the Sun Belt Conference teams are in the top 25. Can y'all believe it? Louisiana's ranked 23, and Coastal Carolina is 24.
Awesome.
That's pretty good.
I like that.
That's hard to believe.
I like the little Sun Belt Conference that Troy is in. It got a ton of publicity last year. It's got some good teams, some good rivalries for Troy. Fans ought to rally around these rivalries and teams we're playing in this. It's a great conference.
Would that have happened without COVID?
No,
good point for us. Yeah, it wasn't.
But I would say this:
but
that
they got there. They're still there.
That the Sun Belt allows us an opportunity. How many actual teams are qualified out of the Sun Belt bowl-wise, Mike?
5.
Got bowl tie-ins.
Yeah, 5 bowl tie-ins.
But now I want to tell you, say something to you about this Sun Belt Conference. Coastal Carolina, Appalachian State, Georgia State, Georgia Southern, Louisiana, Arkansas State, and then you got South Alabama, and then below them Texas State and Louisiana Monroe.
Yeah.
The problem is it's so competitive. There's not a team on this list other than maybe ULM, and ULM's got Terry Bowden coaching them now.
That's right.
And South Alabama.
Appalachian State's usually the gold standard.
And South Alabama had recruited more than anybody on the out of the portal. And Texas State is the largest school in the conference. About close to 40,000 people go to that school. Those three, but you take those top 7 in Arkansas State, Louisiana, Georgia Southern, Troy, Georgia State, Appalachian State, and Coastal Carolina. You can just throw it in there. Either any of those schools.
Well, here's what I'm looking at is fan interest. Are you interested in these games? Normally, we're interested when Mississippi State comes to town, but look at this.
Right.
Coastal Carolina, we all know about Coastal Carolina now.
Yeah.
Almost beat them last year.
Appalachian State, as Michael
Almost
said,
upset them last year.
they have become the gold standard in the Sun Belt, and they've got a great program. Georgia State, not too bad, from Atlanta.
Yeah. Getting better every day.
Playing old Atlanta Braves baseball stadium. Troy University, we love them. Georgia Southern, they are super rich tradition in 1AA, a natural rival of Troy. Louisiana, which is Louisiana Lafayette, they are really good now under Napier. Arkansas State has been good for a long time. They beat the flop out of. They beat somebody last year, Iowa State or somebody last year.
That's right, they did. Beat Iowa State. You're right.
Kansas State, and they're led by the great Butch Jones now.
Yeah.
Texas State, I think that's where Franchione coached for a little while.
That's right.
South Alabama, that's Mobile rival.
They're buying their way in.
In a beautiful new stadium.
Yeah.
ULM, it's just a matter of time before they get it going. So that is a pretty strong league that Troy University is in.
As far as competitive nature, all of them, like I said, could beat the other one on a given weekend.
And here's what's important about these rivalries. It helps your attendance and fan interest. Remember, we used to have it even in Division II with the Gulf South Conference. If we played Jack State, if we played North Alabama, if we played Valdosta, you were interested in because you knew the teams in your league and you had rivalries. Well, that's developed now.
The in-state rivalry with South Alabama is going to be there, but like you said. It's just so competitive. Let's look at Troy football schedule with Southern University. Of course, they're a 1AA team.
Team, aren't they?
and a SWAC team, but they've got athletes, and but we should handle that. Then Liberty comes to town on the September the 11th, and Liberty
made a big splash last year.
Made a huge splash, and they are led by the former Auburn quarterback. And Southern Miss, you know that Southern Miss is going to be back. You know, that's a very, very solid program for years, and they're going to be much, much better. They come to town on the September the 18th.
That's an interesting game because Will Hall, the new coach, was the second runner-up for the Troy job.
That's right. Is that game's not in Troy? It's
in Hattiesburg.
Yeah, it's in Hattiesburg, yeah.
But better in Hattiesburg is Biloxi. Biloxi's now from Hattiesburg.
Well, that's an easy way to get. I mean, Hattiesburg.
But it's going to be a fun game to go to.
How about I meet you in Biloxi and we drive up and go to the game?
That's right.
That weekend, that's the same weekend that same Saturday Alabama plays in the Swamp against Florida. So
but let me tell you, that'll be a good one to go to, and I'll circle that to definitely go to that game.
On Saturday.
ULM.
Former Trojan Mike Peterson sends me emails all the time. He's the head guy at the Bowl Bunch.
Oh yeah, Peterson, you mean? Yeah. But I tell you this.
I get emails from him all the time.
Yeah. Don't ever look past ULM or you'll get beat. I've seen Troy go in there many times, and do you remember the time that, listen to this, Troy took them down to the very last second, and they kicked the field goal. Troy kicker kicked a 55-yard field goal, or attempted one, and it hit the crossbar and knocked away for 55 yards out.
Did it go in or out?
No, it went out.
Troy lost when he missed
it hit the crossbar, and we lost that game.
Heartbreaker City.
But then this is a game that I'm looking forward to, and I'm definitely going to go to this game because I really got a feeling. I've got a real feeling about Troy playing at South Carolina on October the 2nd. I like Troy in this game. I had
a feeling that Troy was going to hang with BYU last year.
I would make that decision after what you said they do against Liberty and Southern Miss.
Yeah.
I'd make the trip to Bologna.
Yeah, exactly. And then Georgia Southern. And Michael, why didn't you tell me, or am I blind? Wirtz is not going to be at quarterback for Georgia Southern. He transferred to Louisville. Did you know that? The great quarterback. You didn't know that, Mike? This magazine tells you all about it. In fact, we could go to.
Shaw Wirtz is going to play for Satterfield, who used to coach Appalachia State.
Yeah. All right. So he's at Georgia Southern. He's a great. I thought he was a great wishbone. I mean, option quarterback.
Problem is he can't throw.
But now you know who they got, Mike, to take his place. They got the former Georgia Tech quarterback. They quarterbacked Georgia Tech to 8 ball games last year.
Mm-hmm.
I hope he runs the option.
Yeah,
well, Georgia Tech used to.
They claim they have hired a new coordinator, so I don't know what they're going to do. You know, but
I wonder if Jeremy Ross still coaching over there.
I don't know. You know, I tell you, I miss Jeremy Rowell. He was a good football coach.
Well, Louisville also
good
got
football quarterback too.
Remember, Louisville got quarterback transfer Luke McCaffrey as well.
Who is that?
He from Nebraska.
Was at Michigan?
He was at Nebraska. Nebraska.
Now, where is he going now?
He's going to Louisville too.
Okay. All right. Hear this.
You know, this is big news here, guys. Taylor Powell, the transfer from Missouri that now is battling for the quarterback job at Troy, got selected as a counselor at the Manning Passing Academy down in Louisiana.
Oh boy, that's quite an honor.
Wow.
Quite an honor.
Yeah.
Of course, he was Player of the Year in Arkansas his senior year in the high school.
I wonder if Archie's grandson Arch will be at the Manning Passing
Academy.
Academy.
He'll be there.
He can give us a scouting report on Arch.
That's exactly right. Mike, this information that's out about Georgia Southern quarterback not coming back, that's good news as far as Troy goes. I guarantee you, I would have hated to have to go up against him again.
Well, Troy had beat Georgia Southern 3 years in a row until last year.
Yeah.
Didn't they have a chance to win last year? They just kind of.
Yeah, that was at the game.
Yeah.
There's a Malik Cunningham also on the roster as a quarterback from Parks Crossing on that roster too for Louisville.
No, he's a super
6'1", 200 pounds.
He's a
quarterback.
budding star, yeah.
Redshirt junior.
It says, but Georgia Tech transferred James Graham. Have you ever heard his name, Mike? Who started 8 games for the Yellow Jackets of Georgia Tech, was brought in to compete for the job.
Wow.
And
I don't remember him. Of course,
that's
Georgia
right.
Tech's been down so much over the last few years.
Yeah. But again, that was a real something that really jumped out at me. That here it goes right here. It says Wirtz transferred to Louisville for his extra season of eligibility, and Justin Tomlin showed was coming
Some
back as one of the quarterbacks along with Graham. So it's going to be between the Georgia Tech guy and the guy that was backing up the Wirtz.
Have y'all been reading about the great Johnny Manziel? Says he made a decent
Yeah.
living selling autographs at Texas A&M, but never took $1 before winning the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah.
No. All right.
Well,
He made at least $35,000 selling autographs the year after he won the Heisman. He doesn't want his Heisman Trophy taken away from him. But Daisley is going to try, I guess, maybe put Texas A&M on probation.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. He's just bad news. He's just awful.
But
Well-
the thing, and I'll get off of this Georgia Southern thing. Georgia Southern, normally runs the option, but I've got a feeling with this new offensive coordinator, they're going to try to do some other things.
Georgia Southern?
Yeah.
You might be right. You've heard of poor white trash? Johnny Manziel is rich white trash.
Yeah, he comes from billions of dollars, doesn't he?
I don't know about billions, but his daddy's really rich.
I hated that he didn't make it in the pros. I don't know what it was, but he would. You'd had to go to somewhere in the pros and be a running quarterback.
I think what it was is maturity issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what? If he was that quarterback for Texas A&M right now, I think
You'd pay to watch him?
I think when Alabama played them, they might be in trouble because he was not awed by Alabama by no means.
Well, they got to have a new quarterback. I don't know who's going to fill those shoes. They got like 2, I think, that are.
But like y'all say, we've talked about all the time with this portal. You don't know what happens day by day.
You may
If
get
it gets a superstar quarterback, they got a chance to win.
Well, it's kind of like what Coach was saying the other day when he called in. It's how they mesh. You may get 5 stars, but how are you going to coach them? Are they going to jail together?
Mm-hmm.
Are they going to come together?
And Mike, the thing about Arkansas State, Bonner, the quarterback, they had 2 quarterbacks last year, Bonner and Hatcher, the transfer from Alabama. All right, the Bonner decided that he'd go with his coach, and so
He went to Utah State.
Yeah, he went to Utah State as the quarterback with Coach Anderson, and
our good friend Jeremy Rawl is entering his 6th year. He is now the outside linebacker coach at Georgia Southern.
Good.
well, let me tell you this,
He
Mike.
married a girl from Luverne.
Yeah,
Bobby
he sure
Owens'
did.
daughter.
A sweet girl too.
They
Mike,
got
how
2
about
kids.
this? James Blackman, former Florida State quarterback, is
He might
going
be
is in the run at
running for
Arkansas
head coach
State
at Troy
quarterback.
University in the future.
So they continue to go use the portal, and the Hatcher is the only one. He's going back.
Hatcher is good.
Yeah.
He should have been starting full time last year, in my opinion. I watched a lot of Arkansas State games.
I was wondering how he would have mixed in that fold there. And it was amazing how well they did. With him at quarterback.
He was an afterthought, late signee at Alabama, and I don't think they really even gave him a chance. He was about 5th or 6th on the depth chart, but at least it tells you that the coaches, they could catch talent because he is obviously proven that he can play.
Well, let's say this, that Arkansas State was 2nd in the nation in passing. So that'll tell you about how good these guys were.
And they played they
game.
split quarterbacks. They would play one series, the other the other.
That's right. And I have yet to see.
It's interesting. I was reading prominent people that Jeremy Rawls coached, and listen to these names: Lowe's McKelvin, Joshua Moon, Sherrod Martin, Jordan Calvin, Albert Mack, Derek Ansley, Mario Addison, Brandon Lane, Jonathan Carter, Brandon Condren, Jonathan Massaquoi, Marino Filliard, Cameron Sheffield, Brandon Traylor, Albert Mack, Steve McClendon. All those guys played in the NFL. I don't realize Jeremy's an offensive coordinator and a defensive coordinator.
That's right. You're right. I like Jeremy Ryle a lot, and if Troy ever hired him, I'd be all for it.
Well, I was just talking to Forrest about, future coaches at Troy down the road. He would be on the list, and wouldn't he? And Ansley too.
Yeah.
Ansley's got to be real high on the list. He interviewed last time, from what I heard. You got to remember that name, and then you got to remember young Corey Dennis at Ohio State.
Yeah,
he's not ready.
Yeah, watch him though. I mean, he's not ready yet.
Give him about 7 years.
Yeah, but I tell you what, he's got a great job. Corey Dennis,
that's after Sid Lindsey takes over the Auburn job.
Yeah,
13, 14, and 0.
Arkansas State travels to play Washington on the 18th day of September. Arkansas State versus Washington.
Yeah.
I read an interview with the former Washington coach Peterson. He is an he just was kind of really, for lack of a better term, burned out, and then he retired. He'd done great at Washington and just quit. And he explained why he did it, but he's real cerebral and intellectual. He doesn't fit the mold of your typical football coach. From this interview I read. And I wouldn't be surprised if one day he's like Urban Meyer. He gets back into it.
Yeah. But, it's amazing about what a difference a quarterback can make. And it's going to be interesting to see how Arkansas State does. Think about this. Troy is one of Troy's, and I'm telling you now, one of the top 10 victories in Troy history might have been when they went to little Arkansas State and beat them 38-10. That was a tremendous win for Troy and Coach Lindsey. 38-10 at Arkansas State.
All the problem is Arkansas State went 3-9.
Yeah, but Mike, it's still though.
It was the best game last year, except
right.
Coastal Carolina should have been.
Here's something I want to interject. Appalachian State, their second game, they traveled to Miami after Alabama plays Miami.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Appalachian State at Miami. Of course, I already mentioned Arkansas State. Coastal Carolina, they'll go to Kansas and play. Georgia Southern at Arkansas Kansas later on in the year on the 18th day of September. Yeah. Georgia Southern at Arkansas. Georgia State will open up with Army at North Carolina and at Auburn.
Wow.
How about that? Louisiana plays at Texas on the 4th of September. Yeah. Then
Louisiana opens with Sarkisian.
Louisiana Monroe at Kentucky. Their first game at Kentucky. South Alabama, I don't see any big games on their schedule. They got Southern Miss at home to open up the season. Texas State plays Baylor. Then, Troy plays South Carolina, and that's the big games in the Sun Belt Conference this year.
We were looking at Mike mentioned the other day why somebody hadn't tried to pick up the Coastal Carolina's quarterback from last year, Grayson McCall, and he was really good. He's only a sophomore. Now, they can't get a sophomore? Is that what happened?
No, they can get him.
They can get him.
He can get anybody he wants.
Okay, and
eat him.
Another thing about them, this is not very impressive. Their stadium is just 20,000 seats. It's a nice stadium. I've been in it and everything, but it's just 20,000 seats. But they might have.
You know how recruiting works. And this will make you sick to hear this. The leading rusher last year in the Sun Belt Conference rushed for 1,400 yards. He was at Appalachian State. His name is Cameron Peoples.
Yeah.
6'2", 210 pounds. You know where he's from?
Where?
Lineville, Alabama.
Are you serious?
Clay Central.
Clay Central, and we saw Clay Central several times. They got a great program, and that's the one that our Chevrolet dealer used to go to.
I'm gonna tell you now. Well, Alabama
Jim Jackson.
hardly recruits Alabama players, which is bizarre. I've written a column about it. I mean, only 2 players in Alabama's starting lineup in that national championship game against Ohio State came from the state of Alabama. Auburn recruits fairly well, and you got these Troys, UABs in South Alabama, but there are a lot of good football players in Alabama, high school football players that don't go to Alabama colleges. And that was one of them.
You got a quarterback going to Oregon.
You know, Mike, you know.
He's only rushed for 2,600 yards the past 2 seasons.
Golly.
Kentucky has a running back that was from Wetumpka that is really good.
Smoke.
Yeah,
that's right.
Smoke on the water.
Yeah. But
Troy's quarterback's got the greatest name up for a quarterback, Gunnar Watson.
That's right, Gunnar Watson. You're right.
He's a gunner.
And he's a good football player. The problem is what team's going to show up every week. Consistency is going to win that conference.
You know,
because any of them can beat the other.
Yeah, you're right.
All right, Coach Blakeney, and his heyday and all the heydays, well, they were littered with good offensive and defensive linemen. So that's where you win in the trenches. You can talk quarterbacks and running backs all you want to, wide receivers.
Yeah.
If you don't have an offensive and defensive line, adios amigos, and you'll go 4-7 or whatever.
Yeah, when Troy got on the map, they had players
you gotta
like
have the stud bucket.
O.C. Umenyiora and DeMarcus Ware, your defensive lineman.
Let me tell you how you can tell the difference. The difference
Rodney
in the first team defense in the Sun Belt Conference. Coastal Carolina had 1, 2, 3, 4 players on their defense that made all conference, and of course then on offense, McCall, you know, is their great quarterback, Grayson McCall, 6'3", 200 pounds. He was first team offense, and then he had Reese White was a running back, was first team. Also Jalen Highland, another Coastal Carolina player. They had they actually had 5 players on offense. So they had 5 players on the first team offense, and then 4 on defense. They were
Troy should have beat them.
All conference.
How did you let them go down the field in a minute with no timeouts left? And
It's called we didn't blitz.
You know, you're exactly right. You are exactly right, and we talked about that.
Guy had all day back there.
Especially late in the ball game when somebody's
Yeah.
trying to beat you. You know, if you send about 4 or 5,
make it,
at least blitz them and make them have to.
Nowadays, with these quarterbacks and the way they can throw it, and receivers, don't let them sit back there and look around and throw the ball.
Yeah, exactly. And you know,
I mean, you can only cover a guy for so long.
That's right. Exactly. And
you got to remember that one guy's going forward, one guy's going backwards when it comes to coverage.
I'll say this, Coach Lindsey, if you're watching today, that is the reason you lost that game, because you had no pressure on their quarterback. He had all day long to throw, and he found receivers.
I would have put in some fresh defensive linemen that had good legs and linebackers and sense a bunch of people, but you know that's retrospect, and all coaches do that in his defense. I mean,
wasn't their coach upset that they had to even come to Troy and play because of
he didn't want to have to play. He thought it was ridiculous.
Oh yeah, he did not want to.
They didn't even let him play the championship game.
Yeah.
They did co-champions because of COVID issues at Coastal Carolina.
All right, this is how they.
Lafayette and Coastal Carolina didn't play the championship game.
You know what? No, those COVID issues, you know what they really were? They weren't sick players. They were protocols where if you tested positive and you were around some other people, those other people, they weren't positive, but they couldn't play either.
Yeah.
And
tracing issues.
It just. That's why all these games were canceled. Everybody thinks, oh, there must have been 7 players in bed sick. No, there wasn't. It was just...
Well, I think in Alabama.com today, there's an article about Nick Saban and the University of Alabama. They're almost at 85% of vaccinations on their staff and players, which will allow them to be
Yeah, they shouldn't
test.
have to.
Don't have to test.
Another thing to
That was
look
hard
at,
for
how the bowls came out. The Myrtle Beach Bowl, the first ever, Appalachian State beat North Texas, 58-28. In the New Orleans Bowl, that's where we want to go every year. Listen to this. Georgia Southern beat Louisiana Tech 38-3. They killed them. Georgia Southern did. That's why that darn option will do for you. And then on the Cure Bowl, Liberty, listen to this. Liberty beat Coastal Carolina 37-34 in overtime.
Great game. I watched it.
Those were two of the hottest teams out there. And then in the Serve Pro, Louisiana beat University of Texas San Antonio 31-24. And then the Lending Tree Bowl, the last bowl of the Sun Belt, was Georgia State killed Western Kentucky 39-21.
So the Sun Belt was 4-1, and the only loss they had was in overtime.
That's right. Exactly right.
Well, the bowl in Mobile, will it still be played in Ladd Peoples Stadium, or will it go
back to South Alabama?
I think it's at Ladd Peoples.
Yeah, well, probably will, because it can hold more people, but I don't know.
Yeah, Ladd Stadium needs the wrecking ball like Legion Field.
Yeah.
Aren't they moving the Senior Bowl to South
Bring in
Alabama?
Miley Cyrus, and she'll like it.
Yeah.
Birmingham's getting ready for the World Games, though, so I guess they'll have events at Legion Field.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see what they do.
Well,
What are the World Games?
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like a mini Olympics.
Yeah.
But what events do they have? Yeah.
I think everything.
I read about it. I remember it was like a big deal when Birmingham got it.
They also have a World Military Games, and some people speculate that COVID started at the World Military Games a couple of years ago. You know where they were held?
China?
Wuhan, China.
Yeah.
Is where the World Military. It's an Olympics for people in the military.
Yeah.
Well, for all you Laker fans, you're going to have to pack up and go to the beach because the Lakers are out. They got beat by the Phoenix Suns.
Ooh, and the NBA isn't happy about that because that's the one team that draws the ratings. And I've read that NBA ratings or TV ratings are down.
Well,
They're going to go down further.
Let me tell you this: the second team running back is Kamani Vidal, the kid from Atlanta. Listen to this: 5'8", 212. He's a tank, and he's a tank.
That's what they like now.
See preseason
and then it says Kayla Geiger is also second team, and he's no longer with us. But I think they'll recoup. They've got some players, and it's going to be fun to watch them. It's going to be fun.
The World Games, if anybody wants to attend, will start in Birmingham on July the 7th. And finish on the 17th. It'll start in 2022.
Yeah.
2022.
I want to mention to you that this show is brought to you by
3,600 athletes participating.
Oh gosh, that's huge. I want to mention that we're brought to you
Probably
by
have archery.
Premier Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram trucks. And boy, Jason's got another huge sale going on this week, and you need to get out there and save some money. They'll beat anybody's price. We'll be back in just a moment.
Barney, what are you doing?
You've been looking for a sale. I'm going to give you one. We got one open.
Barney, it's not a jail sale. It's called a car sale. 0% financing for 72 months. Discounts over $15,000.
Killing the competition.
$5,000 over Kelly Blue Book for any old trade. Hey, and it's not illegal to kill the competition.
That's another charge.
Folks, just go to PremierTroy.com. That's where you'll find all the deals. I'll see you soon.
No, you ain't. You're going to be in jail.
Barney!
Nobody beats a Premier deal. Nobody!
This is my chart from Southeast Health.
And you're going to want to make it yours.
Not because it's free,
but because it's priceless. Because with my chart, you can schedule appointments online with your provider.
You can email your provider and get answers.
Get test results.
Refill prescriptions.
And manage your family's health care.
You know how you all want healthcare to be easier?
But no one seems to listen?
Well, someone did. Southeast Health.
To get your free My Chart app,
visit your app store or go to southeasthealth.org.
When it comes to surgery, precision is perfection. The very latest technology available ensures the best possible outcome. The Mako robotic arm-assisted surgery system is now available at Troy Regional Medical Center. Skilled orthopedic surgeon Dr. Robert L. Liljeberg and his team provide patients with faster recovery and better movement after a knee replacement surgery. When accuracy matters, you deserve the very best. Troy Regional Medical Center.
A personal touch, a high level of trust. Whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. Free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of our identity.
Troy had 2 players on the all-conference team, and they both transferred.
Back to our show brought to you by Premier Dodge Chrysler Jeep on the bypass right here in Troy. Of course, Hook's Barbecue. If there's any better ribs anywhere, I want to see them. Hook's Barbecue. And also, when you're buying a barbecue, how about one of those wonderful cakes, those pound cakes? It's wonderful, and you can buy one for about $13. Not bad for a great pound cake this morning. And then also, you can buy Camp Stew by the quart for, I want to say last time I bought it was $8. That's pretty good.
I love Camp Stew.
But
I've never done that to take home. That's a good idea to just buy a couple quarts.
Everybody loves Troy. Their cornerback, third team quarterback from Troy is now on his way to another school, Terrence Dunlap. But he went to a Division I AA school, didn't he? Didn't he go to Southern or where?
Yeah, he went to Southern. Makes you think it might have been a grade this year again with Dunlap. You know, he'd already flunked out of school, had to sit out a year already before. Then he came back. So I imagine this might be a grade situation.
Yeah.
He was probably eligible to play 1 AA and not Division I.
The only reason I see that why they haven't got Marshall yet, Carlton Marshall, the All-American, first-team All-American linebacker from Troy, 5'9", 210, was his height. I mean, a lot of these big schools would not recruit a guy that was that short.
You know, you're talking about transfer portal and all that. Your compliance committee at each university has got to be on top. If this kid wants to come in, his grades and transcripts had to be up to snuff to continue his education. He can't just roll in and kind of forget what he was doing at his previous university.
I wanted to say
that
something.
Compliance stuff has got to be on top of things.
You know, Troy had an offensive lineman, Austin Steedham, 6'5", 291, junior. He was on first team All Sun Belt Conference team, and looking down at the second team was Vidal, the running back, and then Bradshaw, my good buddy Dylan Bradshaw. That's Marty Gilly's nephew.
He just got engaged.
That's right, and he is quite a football player, 6'3", 298, from Enterprise. Is on the second team, Sun Belt Conference.
Ooh, we need him. Both of them to have good years.
And then they got the guy named Will Cholo. They really like this kid at nose guard. He's 6 foot 300, perfect size for a nose guard, and he was a second team pick.
Yeah, it's interesting. Fortunately, you might can help me because you're teaching physical education for several years. So at the World Games, they'll have acrobatic gymnastics, aerobic gymnastics, air sports, archery, beach handball, bowling, canoe polo. Have you ever seen canoe polo before?
I've never seen canoe polo. I've heard of water polo, but not canoe polo.
They will have canoe marathon sports, something called fist ball. Have you ever heard of fist ball?
Fist ball? Never heard of it.
Flag football will be a part of it. Flying discus, jiu-jitsu, karate, kickboxing, lacrosse. Powerlifting will be a part of it. Racquetball, softball, sports climbing. What is squash, sports?
Squash, you know, I'm supposed to know that. Squash is an indoor sport, I believe, but let me research that. But I've heard of squash, never played it, never coached it.
Was fairly popular one time, yeah.
Sumo wrestling, sumo wrestling, track speed skating, trampoline gymnastics, tug of war.
Wow.
I played that. Water skiing and wheelchair rugby. So those are some of the sports in the World Games.
I like some of them.
I wonder if there's a weight limit on tug of war. Flag football, it's going to be interesting to see how many schools in the state of Alabama have girls flag football. It will be a fall sport. I haven't heard anything about Charles Citizen having one or anybody like that, or Goshen or Luverne. But flag football will be a sanctioned sport by the Alabama High School Athletic Association this year. I think previously there were 4 states in the United States that have it. I think Florida, Georgia, and the guru of all that is from Dothan, Alabama, who played pro football. We talked about that several months ago, and I cannot call his name.
Osdale Reed played UAB.
But,
they played for the Cowboys. 42 countries will represent at the World Games in Birmingham.
Well, they're going to have enough hotel rooms?
Birmingham, Alabama's got a lot of hotel rooms.
Yeah, well, they're not in one place, though, are they?
Yeah, they're spread out.
The World Games. Well, we got to read up more on that. That sounds interesting.
Yeah. I was looking at Troy's last year. They played Georgia State 36-34. They lost it. They lost to Coastal Carolina 42-38. And then Georgia Southern 20-13. They could have
3 games by a touchdown or less.
Could have very easily won any one of those games and would have been in a bowl.
It says squash is a racket and ball sport played by 2 players in a 4-walled court with a small hollow.
It's like handball,
Kind of like handball, squash.
Yeah.
Interesting news here. A lot of people maybe don't realize Oak Mountain High School won the 7A state championship this year. And I found out why they won it yesterday. Will Shaver from Oak Mountain has officially committed to North Carolina to play basketball. Will Shaver, 6'10" center for Oak Mountain. So Oak Mountain had a 6'10" guy last year in basketball.
And will not play his senior year.
Yeah. Well, did they?
Yeah, he's not going to play his senior year.
Did they won the 7A title?
Yeah,
basketball.
They beat Northfield. I mean, they beat.
Because Mountain Brook went to 6A and won another 6A title.
Said he's going to a prep academy. I don't know if that's for academics or what, but he will not play his senior year.
And
I sent that information to my brother-in-law, Merriman Epps. He's the biggest North Carolina basketball fan.
So he's going to North Carolina in basketball.
Yeah.
And then Coach K is retiring after this season.
Yeah.
He had 5 national championships. Maybe he can get 6 before he retires.
We're going to take another break. We'll be right back.
I got the top 10 coaches of all.
Barney, what are you doing?
You've been looking for a sale. I'm going to give you one. We got one open.
Barney, it's not a jail sale. It's called a car sale. 0% financing for 72 months. Discounts over $15,000.
Killing the competition.
$5,000 over Kelly Blue Book for any old trade. Hey, and it's not illegal to kill the competition.
Right now, you can join Planet Fitness for no enrollment, $10 a month, no commitment. We're keeping things squeaky clean with tons of equipment and plenty of space to spread out while you work out. And check out the crowd meter in our free app to pick the best time to visit. Don't wait. Join the judgment-free zone today for no enrollment, $10 a month, no commitment. Join in club or at planetfitness.com.
Planet Fitness is open in Troy. Join now for 0 enrollment and $10 a month. Hurry, deal ends June 8th.
At the Piggly Wiggly, we proudly support our local farmers and bring you the best they have to offer, all at cost plus 10%. When you shop local, you reinvest in your community. Remember, buy local, shop local. Piggly Wiggly, local since forever.
May is Military Appreciation Month here at Bondi's Enterprise Toyota. Come share our love for our military with our annual Make Us an Offer sales event and get NADA retail value for your trade. Every new vehicle comes with a lifetime powertrain warranty. Shop us online at bondistoyota.com.
May is Military Appreciation Month here at Bondi's Enterprise Toyota. Come share our love for our military with our annual Make Us an Offer sales event and get NADA retail value for your trade. Every new vehicle comes with a lifetime powertrain warranty at Bondi's Enterprise Toyota.
Need to mention that.
Here we are. We're back on there.
Also, I want to mention, ladies and gentlemen, you folks that are taking a look at what's going on in Troy. I say this, and I say it every week. We're just around the corner, but about from high school and college football. High schools in the state of Alabama can now go out on the field. Their coaches can go out on the field right now in June to get ready for the football season that's going to start in September or maybe early.
Well, they'll start practicing and playing jamborees in August.
I think high school might start a week earlier, but in late August. But isn't that amazing? And you get up to the 4th of July, and it's football season, man. No question about it.
Interesting news yesterday. The United States Football League, that's the former Birmingham Stallions League, has announced they'll play again starting in 2022. So there'll be more opportunities for guys to try to play professional football. I don't know yet if Birmingham will have a team or not, but good article about it on AL.com. All the games will be covered by Fox Sports. So there's some money behind it. So it'll be interesting to see
none of these leagues they can never make it. But the USFL was one that had a pretty good following, didn't it, for a while? I watched.
Well, they got Herschel Walker. That was the big deal. They got some of those great players out of college.
Yeah, I remember that.
I went to some Stallion games in college. They had Stroud was their quarterback, Cliff Stroud, that used to be at the Pittsburgh Steelers. They had Joe Cribbs play. They had some great players.
They did. They really did.
Good.
But Mike, the thing about it now with the schedules now already set up and everything, it won't be. Let me ask this: the Troy quarterback, how did he do? And I think he had a pretty good year.
In one of those leagues, those minor leagues.
What was it, right?
Well, it ended up. The league ended up canceling. Come on, Brandon Silvers.
Yeah, but he had this last league that he played in, he did real well, Mike.
Yeah, he's been in a couple of them. I can't think of
this last one.
The last one that folded. XFL.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The last time,
he might make it. He might make a third team slot one day. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. He still never made an NFL roster yet, though.
Yeah.
Keep trying.
Of course,
Silvers got better throughout his career, and I think his last game in that New Orleans Bowl with Troy just blew out Texas State, and Troy had 4 or 5 receivers hurt in that game. It was his best game he had ever played.
Yeah, says he's an American football quarterback for the Conquerors of the Spring League.
And
whatever the spring.
Did they give you any stats on him? Somebody told me he threw for 300 yards and 5 touchdowns the last game he played.
Memphis Express.
See if you can find that, man.
He says he's joined the Spring League for the 2021 spring season.
Good.
The Spring League is where viewers can call plays. Text in plays.
Oh God!
Said he played for the Memphis Express, the New York Jets briefly, the Seattle Dragons, and now he's with the Conquerors.
Yeah. He's moving around,
but I tell you something about him. He's a pretty good drop back passer.
Yeah.
He can't hurt you running, but I say that I remember him scoring a touchdown standing up against LSU. You remember that?
Isn't he Michael can tell us?
Had a long run against Appalachian State for a touchdown.
Yeah.
Isn't he the quarterback that beat out the quarterback that went to Washington State and almost won the Heisman?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
His uncle, Kerry Christensen,
was
the starting quarterback for the Foley Lions and Troy Trojans, helping the latter win the NCAA Division II championship in 1984.
That's right.
That was his uncle.
And I was there, and I remember that so very well.
We talk a lot about Mike Turk, but he played more quarterback than Mike Turk that year, didn't he?
Yeah, well no, he got hurt. Now, he got hurt about the second game, and I think he didn't come back until the playoffs, and then he led them, Troy, to the final drive, which led to a Ted Clem field goal. He came in and led Troy to that drive to win the game.
So he's a hero.
And he was quite a guy. But nobody. I don't even know. I don't know if you look at the careers. You could look at a Sim Bird, who was just fantastic, but then you look at a Mike Turk. How in the world could you not take a Mike Turk to win ball games?
How long did Sim? Was he the starting quarterback at Troy?
3 years. 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah. They were 6-4 first year. Then they went 8-2, and I believe that was what it was. And then 11-1 for the national championship.
You talk about transfers having an impact on the program. Thank you, Sim Bird.
Yes, sir. No question about it. And he was a great one. Of course,
it's hard for me to believe that they were trying to play Sim on defense, just being around him. I can't see him being a defense.
You mean Georgia was going to play him on defense?
Yeah.
He was a good athlete. He'd been a safety or something like that, but that wasn't his cup of tea. He wasn't a physical guy. And,
that's what I'm saying. I can't see him wanting to come up and drill a guy safety.
What he did in the last two games of the championship in 1968, all he did in that 2 games, he threw 6 touchdowns the first game against Willamette of Salem, Oregon. Troy won the game 63-10 or 63-9, something like that. And the next week, he threw 5 more touchdowns. Listen to that. 5 more touchdowns for 400-some yards, and against Texas A&I. I'm talking about 11 touchdowns in 2 games, and they won the national championship.
Talking about peaking at the right time.
That was pretty good, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yep. They were so far ahead of their time with that passing game.
And then the next year they just lost 1 game, but they got messed up on the playoffs somehow, and.
That was Al Head was quarterback, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's right. And he played very well too. He had a 5-touchdown game against Sanford that year.
I never knew Al as a athlete. I'm too young, and you see him now. He just would never think that he was a great football
He was an
player.
arts guy. He was an arts guy, and he's retired now in Montgomery. And but he was a Charles Henderson quarterback, and he was a good one. And he just fit the mold, and he could spin it, and he led that Troy team the next year, like I said, to I think it was 9-1 record.
He's a nice guy. He is kind of a legendary figure in the arts in the state of Alabama.
Then he tore his knee up, and he came back later and did well, but that knee injury messed him up pretty bad. And
I saw him a lot when I lived in Montgomery. Super nice guy,
I
got the feeling that he just knows everybody in Alabama and all the movers and shakers in the arts world.
Yeah,
I mean, his organization gave grants to support the arts all over the state of Alabama.
Mike, we were talking about South Alabama. How they've gone through the portal and gotten a lot of players. Do you, listen to what they said here. South Alabama wasn't awful. What it says here wasn't awful under Steve Campbell, who was fired after 3 seasons. But did he deserve to have another year to test his coaching ability, or did they get him at the right time?
You listening, Michael?
We might have lost him at the same time, but
he went 3-9, 2-10, and then he went I think his last year 4-8.
Yeah, and we lost.
I mean, a lot of people got excited last year because he beat Southern Miss, not Southern Miss.
Yeah.
And to open the season, then I want to say that they were up on Tulane like 24-0 or 24-3.
Yeah, and lost the league.
Yeah. Here's their coach.
That kind of changed their whole season.
Mm-hmm. Their head coach is Kane Womack. Major Applewhite is a coach. Corey Baton, Robert Ezell, Ernest Hill, Jamal Lett, Michael Smith, Landius
I don't
Wilkerson.
believe he kept him one. Is that it?
But there's some more I don't know. Their names don't hit a bell.
Yeah,
except
I mean, no,
Major
it sure does. It does.
He was defense coordinator for Indiana, so I mean, he didn't bring it in. I mean, he didn't keep anybody from the previous staff.
Yeah. But on the previous staff, you had about 4 or 5 former Troy coaches on his staff.
South Alabama's a sleeping giant in
it sure is
football.
But they're going to be
and
good
so
in basketball.
Troy needs to go ahead and mount some good seasons before they wake up and start doing what they're eventually going to do to build its brand and become like Appalachian State. So these key seasons coming up are key. It's kind of tough because Coach Clark has UAB doing great. But, I'm really just looking at all the athletes that Alabama and Auburn don't get and the schools that are competing for those athletes. But Troy has, Troy's facilities are up there with anybody, and Troy's tradition is great. So Troy can stay ahead of South Alabama, and I think they could pass UAB easily. Yeah. But you can't have a couple of just more mediocre years or down years. I mean, we got to turn this around.
I don't know if it gets any tougher.
You look at the programs, though. I mean, South Alabama didn't have a program until Joy Jones started it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the growth's going to be slower than most places. Of course, UAB didn't start a program until the 90s. I mean, Troy's been playing football so much longer in both of those programs. But, Troy, I think, when it comes down to it, I'm sure people are still shocked that we never won a title in 1AA. You look at Appalachian State, Georgia Southern. I mean, Georgia Southern won 6 national championships.
They won a bunch.
Appalachian State won 4 or 5 at 1AA. I mean, Troy never even won one.
But they're only in 1AA about 8 years.
Yeah, they weren't in that.
And they were in position to win some though.
I tell you, the team that lost to Marshall at Marshall, that storm, first of all, they should have called the game because it was a tornado all around the stadium during the game, and then they allowed a block kick that beat them.
Didn't Marshall go on and win the national championship?
Yeah, that's right. Easily won the national championship.
They got beat in a snowstorm.
That's right. It was bad. Bad weather.
That's when
Marshall had Jim Donnan as the coach.
In fact, I don't know if they would allow the game to be played in this day and time because it was terrible weather.
Well, it was snow. It was cold.
Yeah.
It was cold for these Southern boys and kept.
These Southern boys, right.
But Troy could have won that game easily, and if they win that game, they win the next week and win that national championship.
And they had perhaps, now listen to this, perhaps one of the greatest quarterback in Troy history. Played quarterback for them. He's a youngster out of Murphy High School in Mobile, and he was a good one. Kelvin Simmons.
I thought he was from Viger.
No, he played. I think he played for Murphy. I might be wrong. But he was a great player, and of course, everybody thought he was going to Alabama and Auburn and Troy. He had to go to a junior college, and Troy picked him up. He had the best work ethic. He'd stay on the field at least 30 minutes after everybody else went in.
Next year, Troy plays Ole Miss next year.
All right. Yeah, let me know that. Let me know what it is.
We play Ole Miss, and then we play Army next year.
Yeah, okay.
Then in 23, we go to Kansas State, and we'll play Army again. In 24, we'll play Memphis, and we'll go to Iowa. In 25, we go to Clemson. In 26, we'll play BYU, Mississippi State, and we'll play Missouri at home. In 2026.
Missouri at home. You mean Missouri's coming to Troy?
That's what
after
it says.
What we did today.
No,
after what we did
it says at Missouri. I apologize. BYU is at home.
We tore down the goalpost.
BYU's at home.
That'd be great.
Yeah, BYU's at home. At Mississippi State. At Missouri. And let's see what 2027 shows.
What about Tennessee? We lost that game with Tennessee last year, and it looks like we're maybe
and North Carolina State.
Yeah, and North Carolina. And they were going to come here, weren't they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were coming here.
Mm.
We could have beaten North Carolina State at the time, I think. But Take a look at this schedule next year, and it's going to be a fun schedule. Like I said, at home against Southern University. Then we play Liberty, a very good Liberty team, at
Coached
home.
by Hugh Freeze.
Yeah, that's right. And then so those two are at home.
Surely Liberty's ranked, aren't they? They won 12 games last
Oh
year.
yeah, they're ranked. They're ranked 24th, I think, something like that. I need to check that out. I don't
Come back to the front.
Yeah, but then we play Southern Mississippi at Southern, ULM at. Is that game in Troy or what? No, it's on the road. South Carolina on the road, and I think we got a shot at that one.
They talked about Liberty joining the Sun Belt Conference, which wouldn't be a bad fit for the Sun Belt. And then there's talks I've read that Sam Houston State, who won the national championship in 1AA, but they're wanting to make the jump to Division I at Sam Houston State. Those would be two pretty good schools to have.
Ooh, yeah. Liberty would be good. Great.
Did you know that Liberty...
they're not in the top 25.
They're not in the top 25. They're ranked 39th. Auburn...
how can they not be ahead of Coastal Carolina? They beat them in the bowl game.
I know it.
They must lose a lot of players.
Yeah. They... Auburn's ranked 29th overall in this. This is Aslan's pick. And... But then Troy, of course, gets Southern Miss at home. I want to say not Southern Miss, but Georgia Southern at home.
I wish Troy would have beat Southern Miss 2 years ago when they came here.
Yeah.
Could have.
All right, then Texas State on the road, Coastal Carolina on the road. But let's look at this one in a row. South Alabama, Louisiana, and App State, and then finish at Georgia State. Boy, that schedule is ruthless.
Mm-hmm.
Neil Brown won out Southern Miss. So,
yeah.
Struggled against Southern Miss over the years playing them.
Well, did we haven't played Southern since Chip been the coach?
Yeah, we played them at home.
Yeah, Chip played him his first year. He got beat.
Oh yeah, that's right.
50 to 43 or 49 to 43 or something.
Yeah. But it's going to be a competitive league. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch it, and I hope that today is the last day you can buy tickets at Troy, season tickets, and get this bonus prize. I don't know what the prize is going to be, but they're going to give away a bonus. So I'm going to go over there today and make sure I have my tickets.
Great home schedule, yes. Very affordable, reasonable. Beautiful football stadium. Got a football team that, even with these transfers leaving, you still got 90% of your roster returning.
Yeah.
Plus, Troy's getting their own transfers we don't know anything about. We might be getting some good transfers.
Well, we're getting a transfer from Florida State. We're getting a transfer from Michigan. Tell me about that guy. I don't know anything about this.
Got one from Missouri.
Guy. Tell me about this guy.
He didn't play last year, and then I think he entered the transfer portal maybe the year before that. He hadn't played football in a year and a half.
But we got him, and where is he from?
He's from Maryland originally, but he played at IMG Academy.
Oh, okay.
Well, it's like Richard McBride. How long did he sit out before he went back and played? A year and a half to 2 years.
And you know what? They say he's going to play again this year.
No, he's not.
I've heard that. I've heard that.
He's not on the roster.
Are you sure?
Right. He's
yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong then.
Yeah.
Well, he's probably going to get a chance to play in the NFL.
I don't think you can play 7 years of college football.
I don't know.
He'd already played 6.
There's stranger things that have happened.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Farley has got a.
Why can't we get a game with SMU? I feel like Troy could play with SMU.
Oh, it's no question.
That would be a good game.
I tell you what, I wish we'd play. I wish we could play Hawaii and out there. they charter our planes.
I'd like to play the University of Nevada, Las Vegas.
I'll tell you what, Mike. I'll drive you to Hawaii, but I think I'm gonna have to stop when I get to the edge of California.
Mike Amos, along with
that is one thing that Troy is not done, is played a Pac-12 team.
Yeah.
Have you ever played anybody for the Pac-12?
Yeah. No.
In all our years of Division I,
play Florida, Kansas State's the Big 12, isn't it?
No, Dad, the Pac-12.
Oh, Pac-12.
UCLA, USC, Oregon.
Oh yeah, no question.
Arizona State.
They haven't wanted to play us. But
if they're scared,
if you're
scared, say you're scared.
Well, that may not work
but
for them.
Remember this, Oklahoma. The Oklahoma Sooners are going to win the national championship this year.
I love what Forrest coming. Here's the top 5. Alabama, Clemson, Oklahoma, Ohio State, Georgia, which has been the top 5 for the last 10 years. And then, as Forrest said yesterday, they'll be the top 5 next year, too.
let me ask you, let me say something. If Georgia didn't have their coach, do you think they would be ranked that high? Their coach? I mean, I think people just automatically think that Georgia's coach makes the difference.
Well, when you look at their schedule, and on the SEC side of things this year, I think they're going to win the West. Now, they open up with Clemson in the state of North Carolina.
Yeah.
So that will be a test for both of those schools. But then, win or lose, if Clemson, say, loses, Clemson will be right back in it because they're going to go through their conference unless there's a glitch. But, Georgia will be representing the West, the East probably. Who can knock them off?
I think, talking about coach, Georgia has all the advantages that you could possibly want in college football. I mean, it's been talked about. Coach Saban has talked about it. He says that is the sleeping giant in college football calls. They're the main, only program in that state, right? Georgia Tech really doesn't compete with Georgia. So they've got the whole state to themselves, unlike Alabama and Auburn that compete with each other.
Right.
And they have about 9 million, 10 million people compared to Alabama's 5 million. And the best high school football per capita in America is in Georgia.
That's right.
They have huge money. They're the state university.
That's right.
They're in the huge markets, Atlanta, TV markets. Why shouldn't Georgia should be competing for a national championship, an SEC championship every single year?
Okay, tonight, Alabama.
SEC-wise,
they have been.
Alabama plays.
UCLA tonight.
Listen to this. At 9:30. Does that sound crazy?
Yeah.
But
they're gonna play them at 9:30.
When you say Texas, the other day we reported that 6 of the top high school programs are in the state of Texas. However, look at how many big-time colleges are in the state of Texas. So everybody's going everywhere.
I was looking at the Atlantic Coast Conference. It's not a very, all you got to beat is Miami, Virginia Tech, Pittsburgh, Virginia, Georgia Tech, and Duke to win that division. It's not much.
I've looked at. I'm scouting Miami since Alabama opens up with them, and Miami is going to be no gimme for Alabama. They got a lot of players coming back. They were 9-3 last year. They've got a ton of good transfers. If their quarterback is healthy, he hurt his knee, he's a Heisman Trophy candidate, they say. So, watch out for Miami in this first game in Atlanta.
Well, maybe so, no question.
Talking about De'Aaron King.
Yeah. Well, Miami, Florida, and Florida State, they're kind of.
But Miami came back last year, though.
They're.
I'll tell you what, Florida State's not hurting for facilities. Boy, their facilities are through the roof.
Yeah, did you see them while you were over there?
Football practice facility the other day. It's incredible.
This is Florida or Florida State?
Florida State.
Boy, just think how big that. It's one of the
40,000 students at Florida State.
Did Florida have a spring game?
I don't know. But it's going to be.
Somebody told me they didn't think they did.
The state of Florida is going to be better. Their teams, Florida, Miami, and Florida State.
Florida State
who's
is
on the cover.
Their transfer quarterback is the kid that got hurt his knee at Central Florida. His last game he played in was November of 2018. That's how bad that knee injury was.
Mackenzie Milton.
Yeah.
Most people said his career was over, but here it is almost 3 years later, and he's now going to be the starting quarterback at Florida State.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed our show, and you have a great weekend, and we'll be back to see you again Monday morning for Today in L.A.
Have a great weekend.
We're all looking forward to a great weekend.
Remember D-Day on Sunday.
Same way. D-Day.
Friends, you don't want to miss this, the $79 Eliminator sale this Saturday only.
Have you seen an increase in your insurance premiums or significant change in your insurance coverage? Let Sandbeck Insurance offer you a better plan to suit your business or personal needs. Sandbeck Insurance offers many